Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Crafted by Kim. In today's edition, I have some more Christmas DIYs using Dollar Tree products. They were a super ton of fun to make. I hope you guys like them too. Let me know what you think at the end. And don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll get notified every time I upload a video. So the first video is the black and white wreath. I used one of the small wire wreath forms, some of the black leather or fake leather that I bought at the Dollar Tree, as well as one of the white dust mops. So to get started, I just took the fake black leather and cut it into strips. Set those aside while I take the white dust mop and cut a strip off of it, just the width of the wire wreath form. Once it's cut, I place it on the wreath form and I use hot glue to get it secured. After I had it glued onto the wreath form, I wasn't really happy with the way the back looked and I wasn't sure if it was going to be secure enough. So I took one of the black leather or fake leather pieces and glued that around the back of the wreath form just to give it a little bit more stability. Once that's all in place, I take the fake leather and I start wrapping it around the wreath form, just evenly spaced out, overlapping, and secure it as I go with hot glue. After the strips of black are all in place, I take some black and white ribbon that I got last year, I think at Walmart on clearance, and I just wrap it around just to give it a little bit more, I'm not even going to say color because it's black and white, but just to add a little bit to it. Once that's all put together, I use some of the bottle brush Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree, glue those into the white dust mop, and that part is finished. To finish things up, I take some of that ribbon and I make a black and white bow. I'm not the greatest at bows, so you'll notice it's a very simple bow. Glue it to the front of it and it is all finished and ready to put up with your home decor. I think it came out super cute. Let me know what you guys think. When the bell on the door jingled once more. In the next project, I used one package of the 1 gallon paint sticks. So I took 8, laid them all flat, used one of the straight edges so that I could make sure it was straight when I glue them together. I take some of the jumbo paint sticks, put some wood glue on them with a dab of hot glue on each one so that when I turn them over, they stay in place. I do let that dry for a couple of hours just to make sure everything is nice and secure. Once I know that it's dry, I turn it over. I take the last 2 paint sticks that I have, cut them to size so that they will cover up the gaps in the top of the paint sticks and as well as the bottom. And I use that cutter that I use for everything that I will link down below that everybody always asks about so that you know where to find it. I think I found it on Amazon. I think it was like $20 or $25 and it is super, super handy. I love it. After they're cut to size, I just add some hot glue, turn them over, and get them secured. Next, I take some deco art, the color is Heritage Brick, and I give everything a really nice good coat of paint. After the brick red paint dries, I take some white paint, go back, dry brush it with white, just to give it the rustic look, and let it dry. While that's all drying, I use one of the white reindeer ornaments, take it outside, and spray paint it with a matte black paint. Once all the pieces are finished, it's ready to put together. So I use one of the wire garland, make it into a circle, use some hot glue, and glue it about 3/4 of the way down onto the red background or frame or whatever you want to call it, and secure it in place. Next, I take the reindeer, put some hot glue on the back, glue that into the center of the garland, and let it dry. Once it's all dry, I had already used my Cricut maker and made a Merry Christmas sign or letters to put on the sign. Now, you could always use some of the peel and stick letters from the Dollar Tree as well. You don't have to have a Cricut maker make this. Here's how it came out. You could set it on a shelf, you could put something to hang it up and decorate it any way you'd like. But somehow DIY number 3 is the Snowflake riser. So I took one of the wood rounds from the Dollar Tree, removed the hanger, and filled the holes with spackle. While those dry, I take one of the larger size snowflakes and paint it white. I believe I used the antique white from Deco Art. Once the snowflake's all painted, I take that wood round, use dark walnut and varathane wood stain and coat it nice and good on both sides because it's going to be a riser, so you'll be able to see both sides of it when I'm finished. After the stain dries, I hot glue the snowflake to the top of the wood round, hot glue that again onto the top of one of the black candle holders from the Dollar Tree and assemble it. This one was really easy and fun to make, and I think it looks really cute on the shelf. So the next DIY is more functional. I needed something for my spare bathroom to put on the back of a toilet. Sounds crazy, I know. So I used 4 wooden boxes from the Dollar Tree, used wood glue, glued them together and let them sit overnight. Once it was dry, I took golden oak made by Varathane and stained all 4 boxes inside and out. Next, I took one of the wooden Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree, had to sand the edges down pretty good. They were pretty rough, so I sanded them down, took some green paint and painted the Christmas tree. Wasn't worried about covering the back because it's going to be glued to the box anyways. After it was dry, I took a piece of scrap paper that I got at Hobby Lobby, cut it to the size of the Christmas tree, glued it on, and took a piece of sanding block and sanded down the edges. Once the tree's finished, I take buffalo check ribbon, wrap it around the edges of the boxes, and use hot glue to secure it into place. The final step for this one to finish things up is just to take hot glue and glue that Christmas tree to the side of the boxes. And now it's ready to fill up. So I got a little sidetracked and decided I wanted to make something to put inside the box. I used a creamer container that I got from Aldi, unwrapped it, and painted it red with the brick red color that I've been using for some other projects. Once it's painted and dry, I take twine, I wrap twine around the top just to cover it up so you can't see any of the clear mark that I missed, and cover up those ridges from where the top was screwed onto the bottle. So next I had a couple pieces of scrap ribbon laying around, so I used a piece of burlap ribbon and I started by hot gluing one end of the ribbon, wrapped it around the bottle, and then repeated it again with some of that buffalo check ribbon that I had left over from the box. To finish this part of the project up, I had some ornaments that I got from Walmart, took one of them off, wrapped it around the top, and here's how it turned out. I put it in my bathroom, filled it up with some toiletries, and this is what it looks like, and I think it's super cute, and that's just the right touch. Up next is my DIY that I use with the Merry and Bright sign. So I take one of the fall signs that are rectangular from the Dollar Tree and paint the entire thing inside and out with the antique white paint. Next, I'm going to use the dark walnut stain and stain the Merry and Bright sign, of course, front and back, because you'll be able to see both when I'm finished. From now on, yes, so now I'm going to use the same stain, dark walnut, and I have some of the half beads that I bought on Amazon that I can link down below in the description box. And I stain enough beads to go across the bottom of the sign that I'm making, which is the rectangular fall sign. Next, I'm going to take some of the floral foam and cut it down to size, put it inside of it's now a box, but used to be the fall sign. Hot glue it down so it stays secure. And take a few pieces of that wire garland and wrap it around the inside of the box just as a filler. After the garland's all finished, I take those wooden beads that I stained in the dark walnut, place them on the front of the sign, and glue them all down with hot glue. Now that the beads are all on in place, I use the Merry and Bright sign. I had already used 2 barbecue skewers, painted them in the antique white, and stick them down into the floral foam. Once they're in the floral foam, I just used 1 pack of the red and gold plastic Christmas ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I used hot glue and randomly placed those around on top of that garland. Used some of the red and gold foam balls as well as filler. This piece came out absolutely beautiful. I get compliments on it all the time. Let me know what you guys think. It was so easy to make. So this last DIY for today was the most fun that I've had so far in this video, and it was making the ski and sled box. So I used one of the Dollar Tree white crate boxes again, used white Waverly paint and painted it white. Next, I take 2 of the wooden sleighs, remove the hangers because I believe they were made to be ornaments from both of them, and I stain them both with that dark walnut stain.
Making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately.
Once the stain is dry, I just use some of the white wax, kind of light brush it across both of the sleighs just to kind of give it an antique kind of look. Next up, yes, you see those are mouse traps. So I needed some kind of wood plank or whatever for the front of the box, and they were perfect. So I disassembled one of the mouse traps and stained it with that dark walnut stain. While all of that dries, I jump back over to that box and I take some crimson red paint and just dry brush the box to give it a little bit of color. So I found this ornament at the Dollar Tree and I thought it was super cute. I was gonna leave it the way it was, but I was going for more of like an antique look. So I take the set of skis and I disassemble everything. Once it's disassembled, I use the antique white paint and paint both of the skis white. Next, I take the ski poles and paint those in the same red that I brushed the box with. I was gonna try to use like a stain or some of the white or the brown wax to wax them to give them more of an antique look. I ended up resorting to plan B, which was painting them red because the stain didn't work and the wax didn't work either. It just didn't stick. After the skis were dry, I took some of my green paint and dry brushed the skis green. Once it's all finished, I put it back together using some twine to wrap around. I ended up having to use a little bit of hot glue because they weren't staying in place, so I hot glue the poles to the skis and wrap some twine around to finish it all up. After the skis are finished, put back together, I am ready to assemble everything. So I took both of these sleds and I had some of the leftover snowflakes that were stickers, hot glued one of those to each one of the sleds just to give it a little bit of extra touch, and I'm ready to assemble everything. I use my Cricut Maker, print out the letters for the rentals and the 25 cents. Again, you can use stickers from the Dollar Tree to do this. You don't have to have a Cricut, but I just went ahead and used mine instead. So on the front of the skis, there was a little tiny ski lift arrow that I removed and used that to place on the sign as well. Hot glue that all to the mousetrap that I had stained earlier and hot glue it to the front of the box. Now, I know this was a bunch of steps to get it put together, but it came out so cute. I absolutely love it. I kind of wish I could figure out a way to make it in a bigger size, on a bigger scale. Let me know what you guys all think about the projects that I did today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when I upload new stuff. I should have another one out next week, and at the end of the day, it's just a lot of fun to make. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Have a great day and an awesome Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys next week.
It's just gonna be you and me, hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da. Making our Christmas memories. I've been wrapping presents for you. I've been hanging marbles in the tree. And I lit my house with Christmas lights, so you should come back home to me. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm gonna play those carols that you love. We'll be singing all the melodies until the sun comes up. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making gonna be you and me. Hanging by the fire chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, yeah. I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories.